Coming up on All About Android this week, we discuss so many things. We've got the Huawei Mate 30 Pro, the Xiaomi Mi 9 Pro 5G, say that 3 times, the Mi Mix Alpha, also hands-on time with the new Huawei Watch GT 2 smartwatch, the Honor 20 Pro, the Xiaomi Mi A3, and the Mi 9T. So many letters and numbers, and a whole lot more coming up next on All About Android.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Mint Mobile. They provide the same premium network coverage you're used to, but at a fraction of the cost because everything is online. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month with their 3-month introductory plan. And get the plan shipped to your door for free at mintmobile.com/Android. And by Capterra, find the right tools to make an informed software decision for your business. Visit Capterra's free website at capterra.com/AAA. And by ZipRecruiter, hiring isn't easy, but there's one place you can go where hiring is simple and smart. That place is ZipRecruiter, where growing businesses connect to qualified candidates. Try for free at ziprecruiter.com/Android. Hello and welcome to All About Android, episode 439, recorded on Tuesday, September 24th, 2019, your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
And I'm Ron Richards.
Oh, my goodness. Ah, jeez. It just...
Victor. Wow.
Thank you, Ron. I'm stunned. Audio listeners are like, I have no idea what's going on. People are just laughing.
Oh, Victor just ultimately trolled Ron.
Yes.
To the extreme, and it's so good. Please log on to YouTube and see the video.
Ron is done with the show now.
I knew Ron was excited that Matteo was coming back.
Ron has left the building. That's what happens when you decorate Ron's camera with nothing but a bunch of goats.
That was really good. Oh, that was really good, Victor.
All right, we want Ron on for the show, so that's it, Ron.
Oh my gosh,
you're
was
free.
So good. Hi, I'm Florence Ion.
Do we need to refer Victor to my talent contract that limits the number of surprise goats I have to deal with on a show?
Yeah, we've kind of reached a new point with this whole goat thing. Now it's like it's permeated beyond just the show, and it's moving into like the individual hosts. Your whole goat thing, Matteo, like what? Did you ever imagine that it would take on a life of its own?
No, I didn't. And I really have to thank All About Android and Phil Nickinson, because it's all Phil's fault. He brought Slack to the App Arena. I couldn't beat Slack unless I brought the ultimate game, Goat Simulator.
Right, that was a big deal at the time.
That's what started it all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In 2014, Slack was really hot.
Yeah.
And so I brought Goat Simulator, and that just escalated.
Yeah,
it was, I think, the only time, or one of 2 times I've been in the studio with Ron.
You do realize that you didn't have to follow Goat Simulator up with another goat game, though, right? Like,
I didn't.
You could have just like...
Let him have a bit.
Okay, all right.
I made a conscious choice, and I think I was backed up by the chat room.
Yeah, no, you know what? The poll results kind of speak for themselves. You've done really well with this whole thing.
Oh, my gosh. Victor, thank you for that laugh, by the way. That hearty laugh, I think, I'm setting a good pace for today's show. I mean, sorry you got trolled, Ron. Yeah. But it was for the, it was for the lulz.
It was definitely worth it. Thank you for the welcome back, Ron and Victor.
I don't know. Ron, you might have made up your mind about Victor in this episode. It really seems like
it's really not a good foot to start on, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you tore everything down already, man.
I'm just not convinced that there aren't more surprises lined up. So I'm just going to, I know nothing, thankfully. I didn't know that was going to happen. But I do know Victor. And I know that Victor is crafty like that. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you see, the thing is, I feel this counterbalances his epic Android news fail from last week.
Oh, sure.
I had to make
It's
up
like
for that.
sometimes Victor's up, sometimes Victor's down. And we just were along for the ride.
Yes. Victor's a little like Bitcoin, really.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if Victor should appreciate that.
Well, I mean, sometimes
you're
Bitcoin's
trading
doing
on all
awesome.
of the markets, Victor. All of the markets.
Victor, we love you. Keep being you.
please.
And along those lines, I'm sorry, Victor, there's no news bumper today.
Thank you.
Nothing.
No worries. I hope I made up for it with
You did.
the rest of today.
You did.
Maybe that
Although,
was.
Jason, it does take away an opportunity for me to get back at him, but whatever.
Okay.
I'll wait. I'll lay and wait till next week.
Yeah, you can push that off till next week. Matteo Doni, of course. We didn't really give you a proper introduction. TechTravelGeeks.com. Always great to have you. And you're here in studio. So
I am.
that's
Yes,
amazing.
I'm on vacation on my way to Hawaii, so we thought we'd stop off.
On
in the
his
region.
way to Hawaii.
No big deal.
well,
humble brag.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I'm here with the boss. Candice is in the audience
That's right.
with Ant.
And Ant Pruitt
Hi, Aunt.
sitting in the audience.
Wearing
as
a
well.
nap shirt, by the way, which is
Hey, we
not
should all
healthy.
value the nap. All right. We're just beating around the bush here because we got a ton of stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah.
And it's two, not one, but two major hardware blocks. So we're going to start with hardware right now.
More goat bumpers.
She's
It
just
just keeps
stroking, like just loving on the goat.
It just keeps going. It just keeps goading and goading and goading.
It's really just encouraging bad behavior.
Yes.
I hope we're all aware of this.
It is. It is bad behavior.
This is like the tech podcast equivalent of vaping.
Yeah, I don't
Are
know.
you saying
what to
there's a
take with
Surgeon
that.
General warning out for it?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, in a couple of years from now, we're going to look back on this and be embarrassed. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's possible. It's
I don't know,
true.
you've been doing this for 5 years, so it's
Yeah.
been
I know,
keeping it
it's
going.
a long
Not
time.
embarrassed yet.
You know who's not embarrassed either? That's Huawei, not embarrassed enough to launch a new phone, despite what the U.S. may have told it. So the Huawei Mate 30 Pro was announced last week, and if you're following Android Twitter, then you definitely saw this pop up in your feeds, I'm sure. So let's list off some of the specs real quick. There's a 6.53-inch OLED. That's a 2400 by 1080 resolution display. A Kirin 990 on the inside. 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, a 4500 milliamp battery, and that's a 40-watt supercharged wired battery, or a 27-watt wireless charge.
Wow.
Cool.
That's fast.
Yeah.
That's a fast wireless charge.
It's fast, but is it too fast?
Is it fast enough?
Okay,
Never.
that's a better one.
Never.
Circular rear quad camera module with a 40 megapixel primary, an 8 megapixel 3x telephoto, a 40 megapixel ultra wide, and a 3D
time of flight.
Time of
Yeah.
flight. I'm sorry, I constantly brain fart on
You can say
TOF.
cough.
I know.
I don't know if you can,
I
but
don't know why I keep brain farting. And I just want to add editorial note here that I really do appreciate that they didn't go with the stovetop look on the back of the phone as the purported Pixel 4, or I guess already announced Pixel 4.
you don't like the little square.
Phones are not for cooking things on them. They're for taking pictures, and I think it should look like a camera on the back of it. So kudos to Huawei for following in that aesthetic. The camera is also going to be capable of real-time bokeh, 7,680 frames per second video recording. Holy cow. Holy goat. 4K or 60 FPS recording, and 4K HDR time-lapse, which that's a lot of definition for time-lapsing.
Look at that slow-mo. Okay, we were talking about this last week. 7680 frames per second. Look at this thing. That's just kind of magical. This ball's
It is, but is anybody
falling.
going to tune into your Instagrams? Because that's very slow. And I just don't know if society has that
I know, that's
ability
pretty.
to tune in.
It's the attention span. I've already
Pretty,
moved
though.
on.
Exactly.
It's really pretty.
So if you do live in a region where you can buy the Huawei Mate 30 Pro, it will cost you 1,099 euros, which isn't too off base compared to what we've been pricing out phones here in the US. Or you could get the 5G version for an extra 100 euros. However, the major
Big
caveat.
asterisk, yes.
And again, if you're in the Twitter internet sphere, you've already heard rumblings of this, but there are no Google apps or services, probably because of us, the United States of America. You can blame us for that.
Definitely because of us.
Installing Google mobile services isn't impossible, but it's not at all ideal for the mass market. I am shocked.
You are
And
shocked.
astounded.
So we were kind of been waiting for this, right? Or what big Huawei
I didn't think it was
release.
going to happen this soon, though, to do the no Google thing.
Well, I mean, they have no choice. And if they had the phone already in the lineup,
What is happening to this world?
this is just the way it goes. Mateo, you had some hands-on time with this, right?
Yeah, you did.
I did. I was at the launch event in Munich. It was a very interesting show, as in the way it was presented, the way the keynote was held.
See, camera
It's
phone.
the first time I've been to a major Huawei event where the word Android was not used once for the whole presentation.
Wow.
They did not use the word Android.
Taking a page out of Samsung's book.
So yeah, I was gonna say it's like a Google presentation, huh?
Is it?
Well, no, I feel like Google does a good job of saying Android. It's Samsung that really drops the ball on that. Samsung
Have you heard about
goes out of
Tizen?
the way to not, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, they launched this amazing device with incredible cameras, allegedly great battery life, because the new chipset and the new battery technology they've used in the devices is a step up. And sadly, most Western markets at this point, we're not sure if we will see them. It is a completely new device, a really top-of-the-range flagship, which potentially could be the flagship smartphone of 2019. And sadly, there's a lot of uncertainty on if we will see it in Western markets.
What do you mean Western markets? Like, I know us, United States, but...
Yes, so it's not just the United States.
Okay.
European markets, usually Western European markets.
Really?
So obviously there is a bit of a political and economic situation.
That's why I'm curious
around,
about that.
Around this. But in other markets, such as Russia, Google isn't that indispensable. People can do without having Google services.
Is that an Eastern market? I'm sorry.
It's counted as not Western Europe.
Okay, yes.
But it is those markets where Google does not have an important presence can do without Google services, and I'm sure the device will sell well. For photography enthusiasts, for people who need a basic smartphone or who have security concerns around Google themselves, this is the ideal smartphone.
Big uphill battle, though. Like it's unfortunate that this is not going to fly in the U.S. without those Google services on there. It's essentially for the most part dead in the water, right? Like that's and some people even in Huawei are saying, well, it's actually really easy to install them. It's really easy to install them, but you got to kind of be a nerd to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's not easy for the everyday average person, knowing that that's what the hurdle you have to jump in order to make it happen. Even if it's easy and there's a million other phones there that already have those services, that's immediately going to take people out of it. So you're just not going to see this in the United States anyways. Even if things change, like everything in the smartphone world moves so fast that this phone's probably just going to be an interesting obscurity here in the U.S. more than anything.
Definitely in the U.S., but in particular European markets, usually Southern European markets, Spain, Italy, Greece, you will probably see quite a few sales of this device. Often consumers in those markets do actually trust Huawei's App Store or Huawei's App Gallery more than Google. It depends on market by market basis.
Sure.
Because there's such trust in the brand itself. The same with Samsung. People do use the Samsung App Store in many markets around the world, maybe more than Google, because there's more trust in the Samsung brand than there is in the Google brand.
Yeah.
So don't underestimate that factor, but definitely in, for example, the UK and the US, it is a very big obstacle to overcome.
Yeah,
not having Google Play services.
It's unfortunate because it looks like it has some pretty impressive camera features. Just as one, I mean, it's one of the Huawei's flagship devices. We're not going to get our stab at it, like for what it could be.
And physically, it is a fantastic device. It feels really nice to hold. The Horizon display that curves over the edges.
Yeah.
And what they've done to take away the volume rocker is really impressive.
Yeah, I got to
play around with that. You have this Horizon display that curves over the edges, and to get the volume rocker, you double tap the edge of the screen, and that brings up the volume rocker, and you slide your finger up and down the edge of the screen to do that.
And you felt it works seamlessly?
Yes. It took me, obviously, when I was doing it the first time with one hand, it was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, you're learning how to.
But then once I had done it a couple of times, it was like second nature.
Right on.
And it is a really, really lovely device. They've also done some interesting work on the materials on the back of it. So it's not just glass. It's laser etched with a gradient. So it goes from the bottom, where it has a texture to it, so it's not very slippy. It doesn't show fingerprint marks, to the top where it's completely smooth like any other glass smartphone. So they've done some really interesting work on the materials, on the form factor, as well as the internals and the software. The device I was playing with was a Chinese one, so it had no Google services. It was running Android 10 with MUI 10, the new Android distribution from Huawei.
Right.
Whether that had been built from previous repositories Huawei had access to, or if it was from Android open source or AOSP, I'm not sure. But there were some core features missing, such as the Google TalkBack stack for accessibility.
Yeah.
So this is something that needs to be clarified, how it will impact users, even if they choose not to use Google services. Will they have certain accessibility functions, which are very important to users?
And speaking of accessibility, real quick before we move on to the announcements that Xiaomi had, you also put in here Story Sign and Pocket Vision. These are accessibility-focused devices, right?
So these are Pocket Vision is an Honor product. It's something developed by the Honor team at Huawei. It's something that our friend Ricky West from Tech Talk UK collaborated on. He has some visual impairment challenges he deals with on a daily basis, and this app was developed with his input. So what Pocket Vision does, it gives users the facility to use their smartphone camera to take pictures of text, think restaurant menus, public transits, information, and to display that as a larger font and with higher contrast. It also does OCR, so optical character recognition, and reads that out to the user. So it's a great thing. It's not the newest accessibility app out there, but it makes it really easy to use. And that's available not through the Google Play Store, but through the Huawei App Gallery. So I have it installed on my Huawei P30 Pro. I installed it the day of the announcement at IFA, and it is a really useful app. It's not just for people with visual impairments. It can make anyone's life easier.
Oh, cool.
And so it's a really cool feature, and just shows you that Huawei aren't just working on the hardware on their smartphones. They're thinking of solving people's problems. It's not just a product to sell. This is actually making devices easier to use. And hopefully it will be available not just on Huawei devices, elsewhere as well. And that brings me on to the other thing, Huawei Story Sign. This is something that Huawei have been working on for a while. It's an app developed for children who have hearing impairments. So deaf children have a big problem learning to read. Because of the way we teach children to read in a phonetic manner, it makes learning to read a very big challenge for children and very frustrating. So what Story Sign does is book publishers work with Huawei on having their content compatible and making it compatible. And through a smartphone, parents and children can point their smartphone at a book. It will read the text and turn that into sign language. And the big challenge there is sign language is, there's many sign languages, almost as many as vocal language are. Therefore, what Huawei have done is have localized these books in sign language for all the different sign languages they have been able to. And the big announcement they made yesterday was that not only will this be available on Huawei smartphones, they're releasing this on iOS and including American Sign Language. So this is a really big thing they're doing. It's not just about their products, it's something they're doing to make the whole smartphone ecosystem better and making not only smart devices, but more environments accessible to people who sometimes get left out by the technology.
For sure. Wow, it's fascinating. Love it.
So I'd say it's a really good thing. It's good to see this happening because it has been something Huawei have been working on for years.
It's also a really good time for Huawei to put out stuff like that. I mean, not to diminish it at all. That's not my intention, but it is really good timing for that.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, hey, check out
optics,
Huawei. They're not just you know,
they're not a threat. They're not a. It's actually very good optics.
But,
not pun unintended.
Right.
This, for example, Story Sign was introduced last year at Christmas before they were added to the entity list. This isn't something new. It's been something they've been working on for years.
Sure.
The fact that they launched it yesterday on iOS and with American Sign Language is maybe just reminding people they do more than just smartphones and networks.
Right there. Yep. Awesome stuff. Xiaomi also had a couple of announcements, a couple of new devices. The first one that I'm going to read is maybe the less exciting of the two. Ron, you got the really exciting one, but I'll talk about it first. Mi 9 Pro 5G. This is an updated variant of the Mi 9. Matteo, you actually have the 9T. That'll be in the hardware shack and a little bit later in the show. But this has a Snapdragon 855 plus 8 or 12 gig RAM capability or options, 6.4-inch 1080p OLED display, 5G with full coverage of all three major Chinese carriers, 4,000 milliamp hour battery, and of course, pretty fast wireless charging, 30 watts of wireless charging speeds, full charge in 69 minutes from wireless charging, which is pretty impressive. 40-watt wired charge, so you get a full charge in 48 minutes. Also 10-watt reverse wireless Qi charging, so you could charge another phone wirelessly pretty quickly, reasonably quickly at 10 watts. Same camera system as the Mi 9, and it's going to be anywhere, roughly $520 to $605, putting it in US dollars, which you're not going to find this in the US because it's Xiaomi, and that's just how it goes. So interesting, but way less interesting than what you have, Ron. This is the thing we really need to talk about.
This is very exciting, and I feel bad, Jason, because I've really my corner of the world is weird phones, and I'm so delighted to talk about the Xiaomi Mi Mix Alpha, which features quote unquote surround screen glass that wraps around the majority of the device. And I've often gone on record saying how I want the all glass device. This brings me closer.
Is it? Almost.
So the only non-glass portion is the camera module on the rear of the phone. Volume, quote unquote, buttons on the side are pressure sensitive. Status icons appear on the sides. Xiaomi says 180% screen to body ratio.
Okay, that
180%
really doesn't mean a whole lot anymore once you're over 100%.
It's the biggest ever.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know if my wife is watching tonight, but if she is, she's going to enjoy the fact that it has a 108 megapixel Samsung camera sensor, which is a 1 by 1.33 inch size, which is enormous. That combined down to a 27 megapixel image. Selfies are taken by using the same camera and using the rear portion of the display, which is just bananas. Yeah. And it's running a Snapdragon 855 plus. It's got support for 5G, 12 gig of RAM, 512 gig of storage, 4,050 milliamp battery. And it's got I wonder why, a small scale production. Yeah. And it's going to be in sale in December for around $2,800. And let me tell you, if I was ridiculously wealthy, I'd have a new phone this December.
Oh, heck yeah. This thing is gorgeous.
Look at these videos.
I have no business ever owning this phone, but this thing is gorgeous. Look at it charging. Look at that. That is so cool.
It's cool,
come on. It's totally cool.
Yeah, but what is? It's 100 degrees outside right now, Fahrenheit. What is this thing going to be like? In the summer months?
What does that have to do with it?
Because I'm thinking about how hot this phone would get just being all glass.
Well, so that's a really good question. So when it's glass mixed with metal, is that going to produce a hotter phone? Because I know sometimes I have the device up in my dash in the thing.
Yeah,
and
my phone
suddenly it gives me the heat warning, and it's like, oh, powering down or whatever. Oh, that's the worst. But is it the metal components that makes it conduct more heat? In that scenario, or is it the glass? Or
so that's a really interesting point. So it's a combination between the battery, the chipset that's doing the processing, and how that heat gets dissipated or spread across the back of the device. Huawei made a point with the Mate 30 Pro of highlighting how they had pretty much solved that. They'd improved their battery technology, but had also managed to distribute the heat across the whole of the back of the device so that you're less likely to have that overheating problem. With an all glass back where the whole device is a screen, that becomes a challenge because you start being at risk of damaging the screen itself. Yeah. Think screen burn-in. Yeah. If you have irregular heat patterns on the front or the back of the device, that may damage the OLED panel that's obviously been installed in this. But then again, if they can distribute the heat to the top and bottom of the device, or that strip at the back where the camera is, that may be their solution. But without having hands-on...
Yeah, hard to know.
But you're right. Without having touching it, it's hard to know. But even then, would they release this for even with a small scale production if they didn't solve for that? Like, I've got to imagine that they go through testing before something actually goes off the production line and gets boxed up and sold. And if this is going to be a hot potato in everyone's hands, they wouldn't get it out of R&D.
Yeah.
So, you know, and to your point, Jason, I do think that the glass, and it's not truly glass, you know, if it's I don't know if it's Gorilla Glass or whatever it might be, you know, so the and I don't know anything about science, but the conduciveness of it or conductiveness or whatever.
There we go. That's
might be a lower level. But that said, you knock $1,000 off that price tag and remove that camera strip and just give me an all glass phone, I'm thinking about it. That's for sure.
With no camera whatsoever?
No camera whatsoever. Yeah.
Now, if only there were another smartphone company that had not done testing and released a product.
No, that never happens.
That never happened. Samsung
Never
Galaxy Note 7, Samsung Galaxy Fold.
Oh, the Fold.
Oh, the Fold. Do you want to talk about the Fold? We should talk about the Fold.
We should.
We should talk about the Fold. This is not a poker game because I'd be losing. I don't have much of a poker face. Poker face.
You don't have much of a poker face.
Wait, let me get a Chinese smartphone to be a paparazzi.
So Samsung has officially put the Galaxy Fold back up for sale after months of us wondering if that was ever going to happen again. If you're following any tech journalists on Twitter, you might have seen some folks mention what the review program looks like, and it's kind of applying across the board for consumers as well. So apparently, the box itself is filled with warnings and instructions on keeping everything in working order. Samsung requires buyers pick up the phone at retail locations to get a, quote, premier, unquote, consultation on how to use it before they take it home. So think of this as the equivalent of having a baby. Don't they give you, like, a walkthrough? I don't know. So... Everyone's very quiet in here. Samsung will also allow for a one-time only screen replacement. It will cost you the low price of $150.
Oh,
you know what else you get $150? That's a pallet of peanut butter at Costco.
One of these?
Isn't that true? Yeah, also one of the phones from your hardware shack. Any one of them. Not true. $149 one-time screen replacement.
You know what? That's a lot cheaper than what I paid to replace the screen on my Pixel 3.
Okay. So
remember, guys, I spent $350.
So it's cheaper. However, I don't know. Is that kind of to a certain degree admission that like you're probably going to screw up this display at some point? Like it's probably going to happen? Or do you think that's just like, make you feel better?
Okay, it should be free because you're already spending $1,000+ on this thing. You already stayed around and were like, you know what, I'm a fan. I will
think you're onto
stay. I will be with you through thick and thin. And you know, when a lover comes back into your life, you expect them to really show what they're made of, you know, when you want to give them your trust.
So that they've learned their lesson.
Exactly.
It's got heavy.
What kind of lover are you going to be, Samsung?
Yeah. Wow. I like it when we do the deep stuff.
What kind of lover are you, Samsung?
You guys can tell what kind of day I'm having before this show.
Lover are you, Samsung?
That's fantastic. That's
PR is going to email me tomorrow. Excuse me.
Samsung is not a lover, Florence. Thank you very much.
It's more like a companion.
Okay, so real quick poll amongst us. I was going to try and like put together a poll and post it as quick as I could, but then you did the baby thing and I realized I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying. So that's why I was silent. So I apologize. So I'll just poll the four of us and those in the studio. What is the future? Is it foldables or is it all glass phones?
Studio, please. Audience.
Foldables? No.
Ann says no.
All glass phones? No.
Ann
Okay.
says no.
Dang
Candace
it.
also says no.
What about a foldable all-glass phone?
I'll take a step further. Foldable, all glass, and transparent. or translucent.
There you go.
Okay.
You can see
There
through
it
it.
is.
I can get behind that.
Thinking Parks and Recreation last season smartphones.
Or the Expanse, right? That's what it was. Yes. I think I'm learning.
Yes,
at
the
this point.
Expanse with the
all
little
right.
panels. Yes.
All right. That's the future. We've got some sort of future coming up here in the hardware shack, and a banana for scale.
Banana
We're
in
going
the
to get to that in a moment. But first, let's take a break and thank the sponsor of this episode of All About Android, and that is Mint Mobile. If maybe you've looked at your wireless bill, if you haven't, you probably should. You're probably paying too much. It's 2019 right now, soon to be 2020. Network coverage is better than ever, no matter what your wireless provider is. You're getting pretty good network coverage. So why pay more for the same service when you can pay less? That's where Mint Mobile comes in. They can cut your bill down to $15 a month for the same premium coverage. And it's easy to think like this is too good to be true. Like, what am I missing? But they really know what they're doing. And I honestly, I went all in. I actually ported my number. I was on Google Fi, and I ported over to Mint Mobile a few months ago. And I mean, I don't do a whole lot of traveling, but in my limited life here in Petaluma in the Bay Area, I have seen zero difference. The only difference that I see is the fact that I don't end up getting charged extra for the data that I go over my minimum on the on 5 or another gig, getting charged extra. It's awesome. It's actually been working really, really well for me. Your old wireless bill pays for expensive retail stores. They pay for overhead, and that is why Mint Mobile reimagined how you buy wireless and made it all online. So they're passing that savings directly to you. Mint Mobile makes it easy to cut your wireless bill down to just $15 a month. Every plan comes with unlimited nationwide talk and text, awesome speeds in 4G LTE. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. That's what I did. If you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. So to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month with their 3-month introductory plan and get the plan shipped to your door for free, all you got to do is go to mintmobile.com/Android. That's mintmobile.com/Android, and you can cut your wireless bill to $15 a month and also have their 3-month introductory plan at mintmobile.com/Android. Okay, thank you, Mint Mobile. Now we're sticking in hardware, but this is the shack portion. I think we have something for that, right?
Oh, no.
All right. Of course we do. It's Matteo's hardware shack.
It just makes this next 2 hours very challenging.
Stick with it, Ron. We need you in the arena. We need you.
Wake me up when the goats leave.
Wake me up before you go.
That's a good one. Well done, Jason.
Thank you very much. Okay, so Matteo, we've got 15 minutes and 3 devices. That works out to 5 minutes per device. What is the first device, sir?
Okay, the first device is the Xiaomi Mi A3. This is an Android One device. It's running a Google-like experience of Android, supported by Google. So you'll see that just turning on the screen with the under-screen fingerprint unlock, you have a pretty much Google launcher and your app drawer, or as Ron would call it, an app drawer.
Hey!
Multitasking is just the same as on a Pixel. It's a Google experience smartphone that gets regular software updates from Google and Xiaomi almost as fast as a Pixel. And the hardware is interesting. So this is a device with an OLED screen, but it's a 720p OLED screen at 6.2 inches. It has a water drop or teardrop selfie camera module. And under the hood, it's running a Snapdragon 665 chipset with, in this case, 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigs of storage. The storage is expandable with microSD. You have to choose between having a single SIM device with microSD or a dual SIM device. The construction is really solid. It's nice to hold. It's nice to feel. It has an incredible effect, shiny back.
I love that.
Wow.
Look
So
at that.
this
It's
is-
like little lasers.
That's very cool.
Pew, 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 pew.
It's like a sort of waveform effect when you reflect light and refract light off the back. And on the back, you'll see there's a triple camera module at the back because it has a 48 megapixel main sensor. It also has a depth sensor, just a 2 megapixel one, and I believe a 16 megapixel wide angle camera. Let me check. Yes, so that's an 8 megapixel wide, ultra wide sensor. So in the camera department, for a device of its price, it's really, really good. Sadly, that comes with some trade-offs. So in the $150 price
Pod
range,
it while you talk about it.
you get a device with plenty of RAM, USB Type-C for charging. The things it doesn't have is, in this case, NFC. So you won't be able to use this for Google Pay or anything
Mobile
else.
payments, yeah.
The recommended retail price is $250, but if you go on to any of the sites you buy these devices off, it's actually retailing for between $150 and $200. So for a Google Experience Android One device with frequent software and security updates, it's a very good option. Compared to other devices I've recently brought in all about Android, like the Nokia 4.2, you're getting a lot more value in the sense that it is much nicer to hold and look at, and it has a bigger battery, a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. So overall, a great experience if you're not needing to have NFC. And yes, there are those who look at it on paper and say it doesn't have a full HD screen, it's not a 1080p screen, but in my personal view, for the price, that 720p screen is perfectly usable, and I don't notice the pixels giving you a negative effect. So that's the shiny Xiaomi Mi A3.
Yeah, that's a nice looking design on the back.
And this is very, very popular in Southern European markets like Spain, Italy, and Greece. It has quite an online following, so there's a lot of very enthusiastic people using that smartphone. And
This
overall,
will be around $200, you're saying, right?
yes, between $150 and $200 in real terms.
Wow.
That's
Recommended
crazy that
retail price
In
is
those prices,
$250.
you're getting this quality of materials. You know what I mean? Like, this is so cool that we're there. We're at that point right now.
Well, other places are at that point.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's even possible.
Yes.
You know, like in
We've yet
$150
to really
to $200
benefit
range.
from it in
Totally.
the US of A.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
So for a 48 megapixel sensor, it's decent, but as any good photographer, and Eric Clapton will tell you, it's in the way that you use it. It doesn't
yes.
have
Thank
optical
you, Eric.
image stabilization. It does take a bit of being careful with, but for $150, nothing to complain about.
No, not at all. Awesome. That's the Mi A3 Android One. This came out a few months ago, right? Like in July,
Yes,
I
this
think.
came out. It was announced in July. It was just over a month and a half ago I managed to get one imported. It's not official in the UK at this point.
Very nice.
But it is available on online markets.
Very nice. That is not the only Xiaomi phone we have here. You have the Mi 9T.
I have another shiny Xiaomi phone here. This is the Xiaomi Mi 9T. This is red, flame red.
It looks like it's
fiery
lighting
hot.
on the side there.
It is
Wow.
really impressive on how they've done this with the reflecting and refracting light to give you that flame effect.
Man, that's some good style. Why can't we have that? You know, like, geez. I mean, don't get me wrong. Really orange or whatever the hell it's going to be called is cool, but it's not flaming red like that. Come on.
Yeah, we get gaming phones with LED stripes and
Like the ROG.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, you said LED stripes, did you?
yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I just threw that out there.
So this has a very similar form factor to the OnePlus 7 Pro. So
Okay.
it's all screen, no notch. And that's because it does have a pop-up selfie camera.
Okay.
Oh.
So I'm just
And-
going to do it. Not only does it pop up the selfie camera, it has flashing LEDs on it. So it must be good.
it
It
does.
must be better. So this is...
It does. Oh, in person, it looks very. It kind of looks like a toy. I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I'm okay with that.
A 20 megapixel selfie camera with flashing LEDs at the side. When the camera is recessed, that LED lights up what is the notification LED at the top of the device. So if I were to get a notification, the whole unit would go bright red and flash.
The whole camera module.
The whole camera module that pops up.
That's
even if
inside
it's
at
recessed,
that
it will flash. So you'll see there's a little dot there.
I see. Dang.
So that's a really cool feature where they've sort of integrated the shininess of the LED and the device.
That's neat. I agree with you though, Flo. It kind of looks a little cheap.
Oh, I didn't mean it when I said like a toy, I didn't mean it that way. But
no, you didn't. Well, I mean,
that's what Jason meant.
That's kind of how. And as I looked at it, like I don't know, there's something not elegant about the LEDs in there for some reason, to my eyes.
Yes, it's not as refined as it could be.
I feel like it could be more refined.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out, by the way, Jason.
No, it's all good. We've got different interpretations.
I should have backed you up there. So
for a device that's under $300, I wouldn't complain about that.
Totally.
But this under $300.
Yes.
This design and style, and I mean the fact that they engineered this to kind of have this double. I don't know. It's smart.
Yeah. It's smart. It also has a decent camera, so it's a 48 megapixel sensor, the same one as in the A3, but with better optics. It has a depth sensor and an ultra-wide camera as well, with LED flash. The downside, I think, is that it has a 20 megapixel selfie camera, but that's fixed focus, so it won't autofocus.
Okay.
If you get it's at arm's length, it's fine, but anything in the distance will be a bit blurry. Anything too close will be blurry. And on the inside, this is a much more powerful smartphone. This is running a Snapdragon 730 chipset. Yeah. This is actually the first device on the market to run that 730 chipset. And as you can see on the screen, that's the video we did for Tech Travel Geeks.
And did a bee, like you were just shooting and suddenly a bee flew up and you were like, oh, hey, bee.
Wait, was that in Berlin?
No, that was actually in Edinburgh. We filmed this. So
I was going to say,
a wasp flew to it like it was flying to honey.
The wasp was like, it's so beautiful.
And then it got burnt by the flames. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. We don't like wasps here, by the
cloud
way.
of smoke. Can I see it first?
Yes. So I'm actually running Action Launcher by Chris Lacey.
Yes, of course, friend of the show.
It's my preferred launcher, Ron. So that's running on there. I really like that phone because it has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery and a Courage port. This is actually my secondary SIM is in that device. It's not only shiny, it is actually a very good smartphone. If you're not using it to play games a lot, you wouldn't notice the difference between a Snapdragon 855 and that 730. And you get better battery life. So in terms of shiny phones from Xiaomi, that's the second one of this hardware shack.
That is shiny. I love the flame effect. That's such a cool looking and different.
It's really cool, effect. And it's clearly doable, like at a decent price point. It's not like that jacked up the price, right?
Right. Yeah, I think the downside of making the design so eye-catching and flashy is that you won't want to put a case on it. Like, it's actually a shame to put a case on it when you have a design like this.
Case on it.
That's true. That's true.
Or don't put a case on your phone. I don't put a case on my phone.
You didn't get haunted by Marilyn Monroe, so
I saw someone with the latest phone from across the street from the Orchard, and they just had the bulkiest, grossest clear case around it. I'm like, way to ruin a new phone, man.
Yeah.
So I will admit I have moved away from Mocadile towards clear cases such as this one.
You're growing up. You're maturing.
For now, it's just a phase.
You're maturing. Matteo's maturing.
It's just a phase.
All right. So the last tier that you have is the Honor 20 Pro. I should say that Nick Gray from Android Authority talked about this back when it was announced, episode 422. He had like some hands-on time with it, and then when he was on the show, he talked a little bit about it. It's been a little bit of a journey.
It has, yes. So this is the Honor 20 Pro. It was announced in May. I was at the launch event in London, the day after the US put Huawei on the entities list. So there's a lot of uncertainty on if this device was actually going to launch, which markets it was going to launch in. It was a very tense situation. The outcome was that in July, so a month and a half after that, almost 2 months later, they did launch the device in select European and Asian markets. It had already officially launched in China. And this is another type of shiny.
It matches my nails.
Yes, it matches Flo's nails purely by coincidence.
That was planned.
We didn't message earlier today to coordinate and our tops. But yes, this is the Honor 20 Pro. This is Honor's flagship. So think of it as their top-tier device. It has a quad camera on the back. They've done something a bit different here. Not only does it have a 48-megapixel sensor and a wide-angle sensor and a depth sensor, it has a dedicated 2-megapixel macro camera, specifically for taking pictures at 4 centimeters.
That's nice. I wish there was more of those. Love to have more of a macro presence on devices.
And you'll notice the screen, as probably Nick explained, is very high screen-to-body ratio one. And the reason for that is that they have put a notch hole through the screen.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So they were doing this
Like where you
before
put your keychain.
at the beginning of the year with the Honor View 20. They carried on with the Honor 20 Pro and the Honor 20. So you'll see there is a punch hole selfie camera.
Yep.
And not only that, this is running the same chipset as the Huawei P30 Pro.
Okay.
That's the
so it's a solid chipset, yeah.
Kirin 980.
Right.
It has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It is not expandable, so it doesn't have micro SD for expansion, but it does support 2 SIM cards. It uses Type-C for charging. Sadly, no Courage port, no 3.5 millimeter audio jack.
Honor has no courage.
Well, they're a little less brave than they used to be.
Yes.
Because that was one of their selling points. They kept the headphone jack. But it does have one of my favorite features, which is an infrared blaster at the top.
You could turn the TV off and on.
I like that.
Especially in hotel rooms where those remote controls are a bit grubby.
Yeah.
It's a really nice feature.
You mean you don't travel with Clorox wipes? Just kidding. Keep going.
Yes, we do that as well. But the other interesting thing is this device has a really shiny back, no fingerprint scanner. There's no fingerprint scanner or in-screen fingerprint reader because they have side-mounted the fingerprint scanner on the on-off
waiting
button.
for the kicker.
Yes, right.
So this is similar to the feature you never saw in the US on Sony devices for some strange geopolitical
We did
reason.
see it on.
It eventually came.
We did see it on the Razer phone because it was on the next bit.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
It was on the next bit. Yeah. Yep.
So this is on the Honor. It is really fast, really responsive. It's ergonomically in the ideal place for your thumb. And I really like that feature because you can feel it without having to see where you're putting your finger. It's a great feature. And overall, this is a really, really good smartphone. I'm currently doing the review for this, and I'm really looking forward to putting the camera through its paces in Hawaii.
Okay, what's your, almost done?
Almost done. I really thoroughly recommend this. 3 caveats.
Oh, okay, one.
1, no official waterproofing level.
Oh, you're going to have a hard time with that in Hawaii.
I have a solution for that. That will be on Tech Travel Geeks soon.
Okay.
Well, hang on though. No official waterproofing level.
Indeed. And that's
What
something
about
that we're...
what about the unofficial?
I have not seen an iFixit teardown of this device yet, so I can't pass judgment. So overall, I'd say you're not getting the best cameras on the market, but for the price, which is around about $500 US, you're getting very, very good value. Because the price of this Honor flagship has moved up in the market, it's not that much more expensive to get a OnePlus equivalent or another device in that range. So Honor has crept up in price much the same as OnePlus has. They've left that $350 to $400 price range and moved up into the $500-600 price range. So it's one to think of. But the good news is this does have NFC. You can use it for Android Pay or Google Pay. You can use it for public transit apps. It's a good overall smartphone. We haven't finished our review yet, but when we do, we look forward to releasing the video on our YouTube channel because our Chief Aperture Officer, Lukasz, really likes working with these shiny phones. He spends hours trying to get the focus right because of the reflection and refraction. It's a big challenge.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful. You got to feature it. It's a big,
but
Yeah,
in terms of looks, really gorgeous. If we put all three of them down, the Mi 9T, the A3.
Sorry, you're late to the party.
And the...
Does that even appear?
Oops. See if we can move them up a little.
Those are good looking from the back.
Yes.
I know, right?
I mean,
What's cooking good looking?
Let's face it, they are Chinese devices and they are shiny. So I think we're going to coin a new term.
This one shine. Give it a little.
These are Chinese phones.
Chinese.
Oh, I don't know. I gotta check with the judges on that one. I don't think it's okay. Yeah. I'm not comfortable with that one.
So whenever a new device gets launched, think of the term, does it apply? Is it a Chinese phone?
Oh, again, I'm gonna have to stop you there. I don't know if that's okay.
I'm going to make this a part of the All About Android lore, just the same as the goats.
I really gotta call time out for a moment.
I don't know that it's...
Before we put anything in the lore, I think we're going to need to talk offline about this.
Thank you for bringing your shiny
I need
Chinese
this. I'm going to take a picture
phones.
while he's talking.
Yes.
You need
Appreciate
to show
it.
the matching nails.
Yes, exactly.
I prefer to go long form. That's just my preference.
Sure. Yeah. No. You want the full effect of the shiny Chinese phone.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Matteo, thank you for bringing those. The shack is not vacated quite yet. After we take a break, we're going to take a look at a wearable item in your shack.
Jason, I'm going to have to stop you there. After the shiny Chinese incident, I don't know if we're going to be okay with more shack.
We'll see. We'll take a look. Rod, you've got the next thing.
All right. Well, we want to thank Capterra for sponsoring this episode of All About Android. Because guess what, folks? Capterra is the leading free online resource to help you find the best software solution for your business. Do you stay up at night dreaming of being more productive? I sure do. So now you can save time and upgrade the way you work with the right software. Explore software and narrow down your favorite options in minutes with software guides and comparison tools. Start making your work be less work and find the right software at capterra.com/AAA. With over 1 million reviews of products from real software users, discover everything you need to make an informed decision. It's validation you can trust, and you can be confident with your purchase. And don't forget to leave a review and continue to help Capterra be the leading free online resource for software solutions. You can search more than 700 specific categories of software, everything from digital workplace software to video management software. No matter what kind of software your business needs, Capterra makes it easy to discover the right solution fast. Capterra believes that software makes the world a better place because software can help every organization become a more efficient, effective version of itself. And listen, software is the lifeblood of everything we do. Everyone watching, all of us here in the shows, we all work in information technology and in tech things. And when it comes down to deciding the right software to help you do your job, it's a life or death decision, because if you make the wrong decision, you're not as effective and you're not as efficient as you want to be. Content management systems is a great example. You want to start a website. What software should you use? There's so many different options out there. So many other different, productivity tools and accounting software and things like that. If you're running a small business, you don't have time to analyze every piece of software. Capterra makes it easier to find what's working for other people out there. It's so easy to search and find a list of all the accounting software off there, compare the different features and see what's worked for other people, and then apply that to your job and make an informed decision. You can join the millions of people who use Capterra each month to find the right tools for their business. So visit capterra.com/AAA for free. And today you can find the tools to make an informed decision for your business. That's capterra.com/AAA, capterra.com/AAA. Capterra, software selection simplified. Thanks, Capterra, for helping us make informed decisions and being an awesome service. Thanks, Capterra.
Thank you, Capterra. All right, it's time for the other kind of hardware, a shack hardware, which I don't think we actually have a bumper for. And that's okay, Victor. Don't feel like you need to make one.
Don't tempt them.
The more I talk about it, the more it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, I usually have time to do one more bumper, but we're getting close to having a full bumper show for Matteo.
Yeah, basically, you're going to have like an entire different profile to load every time Matteo's on in order to load all customized things. Matteo, you have on your wrist a watch that was announced just days ago, the Huawei Watch GT2. I was a big fan of the original Huawei watch. And I think that the revisions have kind of, had some ups and some downs. But I don't know. Give us your take on the Huawei Watch GT2.
Okay, then. So this is a device that was launched at the same time as the Huawei Mate 30 Pro last week in Munich. And Huawei very kindly provided me with a review unit of the Huawei Watch GT2. This is the 42mm model, which is a chunky smartwatch.
He's the big one.
This isn't the biggest one. I think that there's also a 46mm model.
Actually, show the width if you somehow can.
Yes, so here's a banana for scale.
Okay, all right, good. We got the banana
I just want to point out that it's a lot thinner than some of the past Huawei watches.
Yes, it's actually very, very
despite
slim.
its big size.
And it's surprisingly light for a smartwatch of this size, considering there's a battery in it and the components that are inside it. So this has GPS tracking built in. It has a heart rate monitor. It is Bluetooth only in this model, which connects to any Huawei device with the Huawei Health app. And it is a basic smartwatch which can answer and receive phone calls. You can receive notifications from the majority of apps and view them on the display, but you won't be able to compose replies at this point in time. It does sleep tracking. It has a 2-week battery life declared. I charged this up when I unboxed it on Saturday, and I'll just check what the battery life is like.
So 2 weeks is what they're touting.
Wait a minute,
this.
you charged it up and then you got on an airplane.
Yes, a day and a bit later, I got on an airplane.
You're at 87%.
And we're still at 87%. So
2 days.
Saturday, 3 days.
3 days.
3 days and a bit.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So the battery life on this for a smartwatch is really, really impressive.
That's
And
unprecedented.
And they're touting 2 weeks, and I feel like anytime I read something like that, I'm like, yeah, but like under what conditions? That's still really impressive.
Yeah,
3
so
days, 13%. Basically.
This is with heart rate monitoring on, so it's monitoring my heart rate and sleeping during flights and travel.
Wow.
It's really
ongoing heart rate monitoring?
Yes, ongoing
That's-
heart rate
That's
monitoring.
crazy.
And using it through the Huawei Health app, you can see all your trends, get some insights from it. You can also set the type of exercises you're going to be tracking, whether it's cycling, the treadmill, indoor cycling.
Yeah.
So it's a really impressive device. This is my heart rate. It's obviously elevated because
You're super stressed right now.
super stressed. I haven't set up the stress
It's all
monitoring
those
yet,
goats.
Yeah.
but it's there, and it also gives me information on the weather and other things. The speaker on it is really impressive. So this can play music as well as answer and receive calls. So if you're really wanting to,
if you want to be that guy on the train.
yeah, you can play.
Yeah.
I can feel it rattling my body right now. It's just...
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the Huawei track and ads. We can discuss that at a later date. But this is a pretty impressive device for the price.
That looks kind of familiar.
So that's around about $250 US. This is the health tracking to see how I've been progressing through the day. It's not a full circle, so.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay. I was going to say, it looks kind of familiar.
But it has a really clear AMOLED display or OLED display. It's 453 pixels by 453. And it's a full round one. Just like the original Huawei watch from the All About Android incident of 2015. I believe that was the one where you, Ron, and I, Jason, were on All About Androids and got confused by saying Huawei Watch.
But by the amount of W's that are involved with...
And Huawei Pop.
With yes, and Lollipop,
Wow.
the Android OS du jour. But this doesn't actually run Android. This
That's
is
the
Light OS, right?
Yes, this is Light OS, which is Huawei's own wearable operating system.
Okay.
And that's optimized for this device. The interesting thing is that they have their own dedicated chipset. It's a Huawei chip for the Huawei Watch GT2.
You mean they're not using a Qualcomm?
No, they're not. They're using their own
Yeah,
Kirin
That might
A1 chip.
explain the 2 weeks of battery life.
Yeah, possibly so. The Kirin A1 chip, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm putting it through its paces. So far, the software doesn't seem to be fully optimized. Obviously, this hasn't been released on the market yet, but it has a bit of lag in responses. But just as with the first Huawei Watch GT, that will, in my view, improve through software updates.
Yeah, it's a nice looking display too. Like it's really, looking at it up close, it's got a really sharp, like good pixels per inch.
Yes, the pixel density enthusiast in me is happy with the device.
Yeah, I mean, it looks solid.
And it looks pretty much like a watch before it's a smartwatch.
You know, it's interesting that it's not running Wear OS because, as we learned from some of the stories that were going out last week, the market share for Wear OS is really small in comparison to what companies are doing with just the ASOP, like just putting that on a watch, putting their own spin on it. Right. And I mean, you're getting 2 weeks out of this. You're using the Huawei Fit app, correct? And that one, it syncs, I think, with popular apps like Strava. It syncs with a bunch of popular third-party apps, so you're not like left out of other people's ecosystems. Like you can join in. You
can synchronize the Huawei Health app with Google Fit.
Oh,
so you
okay.
can do that as well.
Unlike Samsung, which doesn't do that yet. Interesting. So, but what about the App Store situation?
So there is no App Store as such.
Okay.
So this is more of a Bluetooth display for your notifications and a music player. It doesn't have a sort of full third-party one.
It reminds me a lot of the Huawei Fits. That's why I was thinking of Fit, because my husband used to have one of those, the black and white ones that they used to have. Great fitness tracking, but very little oomph.
Yes.
Yeah. So it seems like they're kind of positioning this more for fitness than they are for like to be a true, fully fledged smartwatch.
Yes, and it's interesting. I would like to see if there is any data on how many people who have a fossil Wear OS device, what they actually use that smartphone for. Are they using local apps, or is it mainly a notification triage service as well as a fitness tracker and heart rate monitor?
Right.
Ron, I don't know if you have any insights into this or any thoughts on the matter. And you're someone who's quite into the triaging of messaging and efficiency apps.
I am.
If you were to use a smartwatch, would you be using it for full app use, or would it be a triage device in your case?
Well, I think the fact that I don't use a smartwatch is my statement on how my approach to notifications and triaging messages. I've gotten really in the opposite direction of late. But if I were to use a smartwatch, I would use it purely in triage and not for full response.
Ron, you use Runtastic, don't you? To track
I do, but on my phone. Yeah. I don't need all the bells. I don't know. I got a very contrarian kind of response to all this. Is that I don't wear a watch. I don't need a fancy thing. The phone does everything I need for it. So it's cool. But to me, I was so excited when the first Google Watches came out, because I thought this was going to be great and it was going to be this good connection between the phone and a device on your wrist and stuff like that. And ultimately, I realized it was kind of just a glorified little toy. So
yeah. Meanwhile, Jason's been demonstrating the watch straps, which are replaceable. I have already ordered a couple of AliExpress Mocadile straps for the Huawei Watch.
Good.
They were one of the first,
it's about time.
Manufacturers to come out with that little clip-on mechanism that's so much easier than the beginning of the days, kids, when you'd have to go in with a screwdriver and remove them. And then lose the screws.
That's right. No, they're so much easier to remove and
the
replace
first
now.
and only Samsung Wear OS or Android Wear smartwatch, which launched at the same time as LG at Google I/O 2015.
Yes.
Those were the good old days.
That was only 2015?
Or was it 2014? No, it was 2014. Wow, how time flies.
We're aging.
Yeah.
But in the wearable space, I think that Google do not dominate the non-fruity side of things.
Absolutely not. They are like number 4, Wear OS is. Versus the off-brand Android.
Right, the Samsung wearables are pretty solid.
Fitbit is its own.
Yeah.
Is its own.
And Xiaomi has its own thing, as well as Huawei having its own fitness bands, which are a separate thing from the Watch GT.
Not a bad little wearable here. That's pretty solid. The Huawei Watch GT2.
How does it look on Flo's wrist?
Oh, no, that's too big. I don't want it.
She's not even going to go there.
Not even. I'm happy with my Samsung Galaxy Active. It's staying on me until they come out with something better.
Yeah, that watch
that's
looks
my
really
real that's my real litmus test. I like to do the Flow test.
Understood.
Well, I love this watch too because it works.
Yeah.
It works really darn well. I mean,
and it fits your wrist and it's a pretty watch.
I'm tracking my heart rate all the time.
All the time.
See when I go to the doctor.
It's funny how amazing when something just works, how great it is.
I know.
Then.
Right. That's all you need to do. Just work. So 229 euros for the 42 millimeter, 249 euros for the 46 millimeter.
Yes, and there's also a smaller model that I believe that's the 40, or is it?
That's the one I would try on.
Yep.
That's the one I saw Issa. Issa does tech. I saw her wearing that one.
Yes, there's a slight trade-off there. It doesn't have a microphone, so you won't be able to make and receive calls.
I'm not Inspector Gadget. Okay, I'm Penny. I'm Penny with the dog.
Inspector Florence.
Yeah.
But it is much lighter and it feels nicer on my wrist. Even this is quite heavy for me. I'm not used to such large smart devices on my wrist.
Yeah. Right on. Huawei Watch GT2. Thanks
and
for
we
the
managed to say that without giggling.
Yeah. Somehow we made it through.
Y'all have had a lot of practice.
I feel like the goats have numbed you.
Yeah, totally.
Or you were too busy coming up with the Chinese thing.
You mean Chinese phones? We're making this happen.
No.
No. Again, I'm going to have to stop you.
I know. I'll save us. Let's go to apps.
Yeah.
Oh, phew. It almost got awkward.
Almost.
Thankfully, we avoided it.
Ooh, I wonder if I have Google Play Pass yet. I've been waiting and waiting.
Flo's going to check for Google Play Pass. We talked about this. No, it's all right. We talked about it a little bit a couple of weeks ago. I think we knew, this probably like a month ago, I think there was some sort of leak or something that pointed to this being a thing. And then, was it last week that Apple had their announcement? Apple Arcade. Oh, you do?
I did.
Exciting. Let's see.
Do we want to sign up for it in real time?
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
I'm checking.
Let's do this over the head.
I got it too. I got
it. Wait. I have to turn down the brightness.
It's Play Pass Christmas. It's
okay. Let's do Jason's. You'll do Jason's overhead, and I'll sign up on mine.
Okay. So what is Play Pass? Google Play Pass, $4.99 a month.
Yes.
10-day free trial. And actually, if you sign up, I can't remember what the deadline is. You can get it for $1.99 a month for the next year.
It says right here, your pass to hundreds of awesome games and apps. For a limited time, start a 10-day free trial and get your first 12 months for $1.99 a month. Then $4.99 a month.
Perfect. All right.
No
so
ads,
don't show yet.
No in-app purchases. New titles added monthly. See full terms.
All right. So I'm subscribing.
Me too.
All right. So you can go ahead and show now. I think it'll probably, payment successful. I have paid. Support your devs. So what is it? Essentially, it is a subscription service for games and apps. 350 plus games and apps at launch, all ad-free and all without in-app purchases. So if the game normally in the Play Store has ads and the developer has followed the APIs to a T, and they're involved with this, those ads will automatically be removed. If there's in-app purchases, say it's like an expansion pack or whatever, the price for those are removed and those expansion packs are added in. So you basically get like the full experience if you're getting a game, as far as I've read about it.
What I would love to know is this makes sense for games, but what apps are in here?
Oh, AccuWeather.
Here we go. Top apps.
That first one is one I brought into the arena. Resplash.
What is it? Touch Retouch?
Yeah, Touch Retouch. That's what I meant.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
AccuWeather, Photo Studio Pro, 3D Anatomy, Moon Plus Reader Pro. I mean, white noise. I use that when we travel.
3D Anatomy.
Phonograph music player from the arena. That was in the arena. Business Calendar Pro. Oh my,
Lucy
that's still
the
around.
Dream Journal.
All right, so there aren't a whole lot of apps in here. But this is top apps. So those are like the top ones. There's a lot of tools.
Lock My Picks.
So
I wonder what that's for.
So yeah,
Perfect piano.
A smart recorder. That's what I use when I want a single
drawing
audio recorder. Yeah. So and Eric in chat is saying, so wait, regular apps, not games? No, it's both. It's apps and games, and that's what's different
Monument
from this
Valley 2
and Apple Arcade.
Pretty good.
Apple Arcade is a bunch of exclusively created for the service games. This is stuff you can already get in the Play Store, but that Google has carved a relationship with to offer it for free. Well, not for free, for the subscription price, essentially. So $4.99 per month. You get access to all these things. Install them all if you like. And if they're games, play them without any ads, without in-app purchases. It's just the full game experience with none of the other stuff added in. Reigns. I mean, there's a ton. I was looking at the list earlier. There's a ton of Arena winning games in here and apps and
things
everything.
I've already
There's probably also a
paid
lot
for.
of crud. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if every single pick is the most amazing thing.
You don't know
No,
that.
you're right. But I guess what I mean is, like, I saw a bunch of calculators and a bunch of these other things. It's like, okay. Maybe
but
you need
hold
it,
on.
but
You're not a student.
that's
You're
true.
not in college.
That's
or
true. I'm
high
not saying
school,
that they don't
or
have
in
an
middle
audience.
School.
I'm just saying that looking through the list, like, I'm not
Imagine-
gonna open this up and say I need to install every single thing I see here. They're
but
all amazing.
Imagine paying. Okay, you're paying for this, Dad. You're
Okay.
paying for this $1.99 right
All right.
now. You will be paying eventually $5 a month, which you
All
can
right.
afford.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And you get to have this added to your family library, and you have your daughters on your family library.
Yes.
And you know they need an app for school that can help them do some of their homework. And so isn't it great that you don't have to drop money on an app that
Yes.
you're only going to use for maybe like 2 or 3 months or for one assignment?
You have you've sold me, Flo.
So
Because it does apply to everybody in the family group.
and I
so
think
that you're
that's
absolutely
the idea
right. You're absolutely right.
is to be Google's really trying to become this like family entity kind of thing. Like you got our smart speakers and you got our smart displays and you got our phones and your children are using our apps. Oh, you don't want to pay for all this stuff? Hey, do you want to do an introductory? It's my Google voice.
I honestly wonder how this works for. I mean, because I'm familiar with subscription apps on the publishing side for my work in comics and stuff like that, and so I got to wonder how they're monetized. Like for a developer, is this purely a volume play? Is Google saying, listen, millions of people are going to sign up, and based on this, your portion of that very low monthly price will be enough to build, is it a long tail
was
play?
thinking.
Here's what
Yeah.
I know about that. Google is paying developers based on what they say is engagement within the apps. And they say it's
Wow.
not limited to simply tracking screen time or the number of opens, but they haven't really detailed exactly what that means.
Engagement with the apps,
And
but
there's-
not based on screen.
And there are a lot of developers, or there's growing concern among developers that what this leads to is, let's say, games, as one example, that emphasize things like grinding and loops and infinite gameplay, because that keeps people playing. That incentivizes a certain type of game, as opposed to like the Monument Valleys out there that have a very specific beginning, middle, end, tell a story. And then there's the other games where you're grinding the whole time just to to build up your coins and blah blah blah. And so there's concern about that. I think it remains to be seen, and I imagine we'll hear from Google over the coming weeks as far to address those concerns.
Sadly, it isn't available in Europe yet, so it's US only.
US only. Thank you. That is important.
Sorry.
So I can't.
But you know
sign
what?
Up.
You get Xiaomi phones and Huawei phones, okay? So
When you're here visiting, can you get it?
Sadly not. But I do notice that things like the podcast feature in Google Play Music appears when I land in the US. Something that we don't have in Europe. It must be behind the geo feature flag.
Could you create a US account and
We'll
then
need
get
to
it?
see. I'm sure there's something in.
I don't
I'm
know.
sure there's
I'm not
something in the
doing it. I'm just
there must
wondering.
be something in the terms and conditions about that.
There
I'll
must
get
be.
back to
There
you.
must be. I'm just
But
curious.
Just to check what sort of apps are in this subscription service, is there any goat-related apps?
Well, so can I search?
I don't actually know how you search within it.
Yeah, I'm not sure that you do. I mean, I guess if I search for goat.
Ukulele tuner is included in this, by the way, in case anybody was wondering.
You.
That's really handy.
Tune.
If you haven't already, do watch the Ukulele Orchestra of Great Britain. They have an awesome version of Shaft.
So I'm not sure that there are any. I mean, without going into each and every goat game, which I know you would love, Matteo, but I'm not
just so
going to
that I
do
know
that.
what to bring to the arena next time.
I mean, you've got a lot of GOAT to choose from here. I just don't know if any of them are offered in Play Pass, so I'm sorry to let you down. I don't know that. But anyways, there's Google Play Pass.
There's actually going to be a Google Play Pass GOAT edition that is just all GOAT-based games and apps.
You'll go down. There's like top games, top apps, tools and utilities, GOATs, editor's choice apps, great indie games, GOAT tools,
and kid-friendly apps too.
Kid-friendly.
Okay,
GOAT.
let's see.
GOAT educational tools. Okay, so there's Google Play Pass, and then Ron. This is a juicy nugget.
Big news, yeah. I woke up the other day and find out that Pocket Cast is now free.
Free, you get a Pocket Cast, and you get a Pocket.
So as a paid user of Pocket Cast, I was delighted to find out that every feature in the paid mobile version is now free for everyone. And simultaneously, they launched Pocket Cast Plus subscription for $1.14 a month or $11.49 a year. And Pocket Cast Plus includes the web and desktop apps, which I adore, upload audio to cloud storage, and more customization options. And as a proud Support Your Devs paying member of the Pocket Cast universe, I found out that anyone who paid for the app previously gets lifetime access to Pocket Cast Plus. And it was initially for 3 years, but they received a lot of complaints, so they made it lifetime. So I am a lifetime Pocket Cast Plus member, but I would gladly pay after a year, not even 3 years, because Support Your Devs. But this is as you remember, Pocket Cast is a highly regarded and recommended podcast app for Android that was acquired by NPR. Right?
Yep.
Or it wasn't acquired. Like they kind of merged.
It was a barrage of public. Yes, radio.
It was a business.
It's still
coming
really
in
hard
together.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah. But
well
anyway,
done to Russell and team.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
for
Congrats
sure.
Congrats to Russell and team. It's fantastic. Love Pocket Cast. This is a great move. It's a great value for $1.14 a month. You get all that cool stuff, which is really great. I love the web player for Pocket Cast. I use it all the time. So excited for the future of Pocket Cast with this new business model.
Yeah. And they listen to people around the lifetime access thing. That's great.
Yeah,
yes.
well, I would like to clarify lifetime. How do you define that?
Well,
because I've just logged in and I've had a look at my account, and I have 99 years free.
Up to what year?
Up to 2118.
Okay.
Are you planning on living past 2118?
I'm never saying no.
Yeah, definitely be careful what you put
I'll
into
be an
the
optimist here.
I gotta say, I'm all for optimism, but that just sounds exhausting.
It does. I'm totally with you, Ron.
A bit of goat yoga and you feel rejuvenated.
Goatka. Yeah. Okay.
So I just want to add one thing about the Pocket Cast thing.
Yes.
Now they are offering cloud storage for your media
Yeah.
as part of that.
Crazy.
And I just want to kind of call out the fact that Pocket Cast is really sort of shifting into a kind of a direction as to be an app about more than just podcasts, but to basically be a media storage facilitator.
Sure.
Which I think is an interesting business model, considering podcasts have really exploded. Podcast studios have exploded.
Yep.
In popularity.
And
Not actually.
Well,
I mean, that I know of.
yeah, exactly. That we know.
But it'll be interesting to see how this compares to Plex going forward.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Plex has a similar storage and serving facility or service.
Yeah.
Are they going to be competitors? Are they going to be complementary to each other? It will be interesting to see.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I'm both a paid Plex subscriber and a paid Pocket Cast subscriber.
What are you gonna do?
I really like supporting media-based apps that start with P.
Yeah. I should mention real quick, Plex is a sponsor on the network, so full disclosure there. But
What other things start with P?
Paramount,
Pi.
Pixel.
Pixel.
Conspiracy theories will abound.
Yes. All right, let's with that lull, let's take a break.
Lol. Not a lulz.
With those lulls, let's take a break and thank the sponsor, and then we will get into the arena and we'll see what happens. Probably we'll show off some apps. That's usually what happens there. This episode of All About Android is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Hiring can be a slow process, of course. Cafe Altura's COO, Dylan Miskowitz, needed to hire a director of coffee for his organic coffee company, but he was having trouble finding qualified candidates, qualified applicants. Then he switched to ZipRecruiter and checked it out. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. It is a powerful technology that identifies people with the right experience and then invites them to apply for your job. So you get qualified candidates fast. So Dylan posted his job on ZipRecruiter, said he was impressed by how quickly he had all those great candidates applying for the job. He used the candidate rating feature in ZipRecruiter to filter his applicants and was able to focus on only the most relevant ones, thankfully, because you could spend a lot of time siphoning and sifting through all of those applicants. You want to narrow it down to just the ones that are the best. And that's how Dylan found his new director of coffee in just a few days. Director of coffee, what a great title.
Delicious.
Yes, I know. You probably drink a lot of coffee when you're the director of coffee. With results like that, it's no wonder 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate within the first day. And, they just take the whole process and they make it easier. If you are running a business, you don't have time often. It's super important. Obviously, you want to find the right people, but it's just the whole process can just be super time consuming. It pulls you away from the other aspects of your business that are equally as important and allows you to focus. That's why ZipRecruiter is awesome. See why ZipRecruiter is effective for businesses of all sizes. Try ZipRecruiter for free at our web address, ziprecruiter.com/Android. That's specific to this show. That's ziprecruiter.com/Android. ZipRecruiter. I feel like that could be a song. .com/Android. ZipRecruiter is the smartest way to hire. And now it's time for just any old run-of-the-mill arena. Just another normal arena. I was
walked
wrong.
right into that.
I was
walked right
wrong.
into that one.
Oh, but they're so cute. They are so
When they're not headbutting each other and eating your plants.
We're done with the kids.
Say, Victor, and your all goat package, I was a little disappointed that there weren't more sound effects in that one.
Oh. Well.
I'll work on it.
Wait,
for the
was that
next one.
constructive feedback or bad?
It was constructive feedback. How hard would it be to have some goat bars in there?
Oh my goodness.
Thanks, Ron.
So many
that's
enter.
good coming from you, Ron, because that's not going to be the last one.
Oh my goodness. That's a tease forward. There's more to look forward to. Last week, you went to twitch.to/AAA poll 438 to place your vote. And looking at the results, I can find, let's see here, who did win? Autumn.
Oh, nice.
Autumn won.
Nice.
Autumn.
Yes.
Wow.
I think they put it out on social media, so they were in your corner here.
It's a good app. I actually use it more to read than to listen these days because it's just curated. Last night I was reading about murder and it was just,
Murder.
Were you reading though? Listening?
Oh, please. Yeah, Autumn gets 30.5% of the vote. Second place was Volume Panel Pro. No, sorry. No, that's right,
Third.
right?
Yeah, second place.
Second place. Okay. I thought I was going backwards. 27.5%. Third place was What Three Words? That was mine. 25.5%. So it was really close, second and third. And then fourth place was Laps It Pro. And I'm sorry, you got fourth place.
Oh,
but your pictures are beautiful, so don't stop shooting those sunsets because
fair. So with those results through 37 weeks, Flo is still in first place with 120 points.
We'll see after
and the
today.
guests are lagging behind in second place with 102 points. And Jason is in third place with 79 points, but I'm catching up with that second place. I've got 75 points, and it means since I came in second, I don't have to go first this week. Huzzah!
Yay! You did it. Okay, so what am I bringing into the arena this week?
Yes.
I'm bringing a game. I actually forgot that this game was on Android, and I was like, God, maybe it's been in the arena. Maybe I've already brought it in the arena. I did the search. It's not there, so I'm really crossing my fingers that I didn't somehow miss it because it's actually a really great game. I first saw it at a friend's house on their console. It may have been like a PS3 if I remember correctly. Anyways, it's called Limbo. And if you haven't played Limbo, it's been out for a while, but it's just a really unique kind of like a walking puzzle game essentially. And what I like about it is that everything is super dark and kind of mysterious about it. It's $4.99 in the Play Store. However, if you do become a part of Play Pass, this is included in the bundle, so see how I tied it in. So you can kind of hardly see it because everything's so dark, but you are this little guy right there. And I just ran into a trap that chopped me up into a million pieces. This is the mystery of Limbo. It's like the whole scenery and everything is just really dark and dank and kind of mysterious and somewhat scary. And so you just have to kind of wander through here and make it through without, dying, essentially, in really weird and mysterious ways. So I ran into a trap somewhere over here. You can see my little silhouette. The left hand is controlling direction, of course, as is pretty standard. If I get close to what I think is the trap, and then I don't want to get too close because it'll, I'm inching forward. And then if I tap this, oh, is that how I move it? Oh, okay, so I can move it. There we go. So now I can jump over it, I think. There we go. And then there's another trap there, and I'll jump over that one. Oh, dang it. I didn't quite jump over well enough. As you go along, you'll find like lots of different puzzles where you come across like a, like a roller buggy that you have to pull over in order to step up onto it and get up onto another platform. It's a very linear style game, but I keep doing that. This is what happens when I play and talk at the same time. Very linear, but it's just really engaging, especially in headphones. There isn't a whole lot going on in the sound effects. It's just really kind of eerie and spooky in its own way. And I just love the visual detail. Yeah, you pull the boat over and you can step up on that in order to get to the platform above. And I don't know, when I saw this on my friend's console, I was like, oh man, I have to have that immediately. And sometimes I'm just astounded by the fact that this was on a console and seemed like a game I had to have on a console. And now you can get it on your mobile phone and play it. And especially if you have Play Pass, you're going to get it for free. Well, not free, but included. Oh, that spider's really spooky. It's called Limbo, and it's definitely worth checking out if you like gaming on the mobile device. I think the port to Android is done really well. And I'll see if I can maybe go backwards to... because
I just want you to know my husband just sent me a hangout. Oh, he's going hard. Limbo's really good.
It is really good. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Like the live commentary.
Yeah, so I'm going backwards. Obviously, you wouldn't play in reverse, but these are parts of the levels that I had already passed, so I thought I'd show, a little bit more of the game.
Is there a bit in that game where Planet Express is involved?
Where what?
Sorry, Futurama joke.
I thought you were talking about Toy Story. I forgot that you've been watching Futurama. Anyway.
Just mixed IP left and right.
I know. And I didn't get it.
We gotta start collecting all the IPs.
There we are. Anyways, it's called Limbo. It's a really great game. You should definitely check it out. $4.99 or included with Play Pass. Do we have to say that now every time? Is this like a new part of our on-show
maybe it'll
vernacular?
help some of us.
Yeah, it could. At least on this episode, it might. All right, Ron, you have the next one, and I have it installed, and I got a little addicted to it earlier while I was playing.
Yeah, it's a little addicting. Well, I'm gonna let everybody in behind the curtain here at the All About Android offices. Burke, who those of you who watch live in the chat room or are familiar with Twit know that Burke is both. He's really the man behind the show. Let's be honest. And so our good friend Burke likes to send emails with apps, mainly games that he's been playing that he's been enjoying. And more often than not, I've already picked my app by the time I get the email, and then I archive it and I forget about it. But he happened to catch my imagination with this one. I was looking for a game as I tried to turn around my trend, and Burke suggested Crush the Castle Siege Master. And I actually want to give a shout out to Burke because I feel like Burke is an unsung hero here at Twit. And I wanted to say exactly what Burke said. If anyone needs a great game for the arena, Crush the Castle Siege Master. It's a 2D scroller. You catapult boulders, fireballs, parachute bombs, freeze potions at castles, minimal ads. I friggin' love this. And listen, based on that description, I was in. So I downloaded Crush the Castle Siege Master, and it's basically, like you said, a 2D scroller. It's the Angry Birds model.
It definitely has an Angry Birds vibe to it.
Yeah, exactly. It's the whole idea is that you're in a medieval castle kind of world. There's a great ad. Oh, hello, hello, Bert.
This is why you pay for
Alrighty, we'll go.
As you supported,
This was obviously aimed at a certain type of millennial.
Certain demographic going on.
Jason has a lot more interesting ads than I do. I'll be honest there. But anyway, moving on. So the idea is that there are these hastily built castles with different materials, wood, stone, things like that. And you have a catapult, and it's your job to destroy these little castles. And your goals in the levels change. You can either have to kill all the people, including the king and the queen and little minions, or the defenders of the castle, or sometimes you need to reach a score level. So you might not need to kill everyone, but you need to destroy enough to build up your score, which I like that because it mixes up what you need to do. As you do it, there in the lower right-hand corner, it shows the different type of ammo you have. With each level, you're given sometimes a big boulder or a series of small boulders that go. Like Burke mentioned, they have bomb things that you can throw, and you launch a bomb, and then you can choose when to drop the bomb on the castle. Lots of really cool power-ups that are available. Every now and then on a level, there'll be a chest in the castle, and if you blow up the chest, you get what's in it, which is usually ammo. Every time you win a level, you get gold, and you can use that gold to buy more chests to get power-ups and things like that. So it's really engaging, and it really gets you in there. It's the fact that it's, I mentioned that it's like Angry Birds, but it's good in a way that it's usually one or two like kind of tasks per level. They do increase in complexity and difficulty as you go up. You can zoom in and out. But for me, the biggest thing about any mobile game and why Crush the Castle wins for me this week is that it has to be playable without being connected to the internet. Right? I'm on the subway going to and from work. Any game that has to connect to the mothership and be connected when you play, I just can't play. And I opened up Crush the Castle. I went under the East River in the subway, and I was able to keep playing. And I was like, that works for me. I'm already up to level 19. So I'm very engaged and having fun playing it. So thank you, Burke. This pick's for you, my friend. If you want to vote in the arena, if you want to vote for Burke, vote with me. Join me and vote for Crush the Castle Siege Master.
Wait a moment. Are you saying that they should vote for Team R&B?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes, apparently so. All right, Crush.
And as those of you watching the live stream in the chat room know that Burke just said it's got all the good things from Angry Birds.
Yeah.
So
there you go. It's a fun game. Fun gameplay with some rather interesting ads.
Hey, it says everyone 10 plus.
Did it say that?
Yes, that's the rating.
10 plus, okay.
Wow.
Over 10 years old, it's okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Crush the Castle Siege Master. All right, Matteo, what do you have?
Right then. So I'll premise this by saying that the plan was to be the brave one who brings Tinder to the app arena.
Yeah, that would have been very brave.
No.
I just look at Candace. She's shaking her head.
She says no. I said no. I did actually make a typo in the App Store, in the Google Play Store when searching for it. I searched for timber. Apparently that's an app for people with wood. And there's also lumber.
Seriously, I'm going to have to stop you, Matteo, because it's...
But yes, there's lots of timber and lumber calculators.
Wow. It's connected.
You're getting a head shake from Candace over there.
Yeah.
So I decided to play it safe with another goat app.
All right. Good call. Good call.
So I'll just go to my goat folder on my phone. And my app is this app, which is the Goat Transport Simulator.
Whoa.
Which has some pretty cool sort of 8-bit style audio to it.
You can turn it up.
Very cool.
And it starts off by immediately giving you a prize for logging in. So I'll redeem that.
Yes, you should.
And so the idea is that you choose your vehicle. In this case, a lorry or a truck, as you call them on this side of the pond. Mm-hmm. And I start off with an ad immediately.
Ah, great.
I think this is a bit more age appropriate.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yes. What is the rating in the Play Store for this? Is it 10 and up?
I think this should be even less. I've tried doing horrible things in a game. It didn't work out. So let's just speed through the ads, close that. So this is free in the App Store, ad supported, obviously. And the idea is that you choose your level. I'll choose the easy goat level, and we'll start with level 1.
It is rated E for everyone.
And there's another ad. Support your devs, people.
Support your devs so you don't deal with that.
Nice.
Luckily, they are skippable ads.
Okay,
Yes,
all right,
yes.
that's good.
So once the game loads after the ads, you'll see you have simple controls. You are driving a lorry or a truck here. And so the left controller is for the steering wheel. You have an accelerator, brake, and your gear lever to choose drive and
You
reverse.
have to shift gears in this one.
Well, you choose between, it's automatic transmission.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
And it is quite challenging
American
because
audience.
the dynamics are interesting. They vary from vehicle to vehicle with where the steering is. And you need to drive this lorry through some challenging conditions without hitting any goats to pick up some goats.
Oh.
So trying not to kill your...
And then it says load the goats into the truck. Okay.
Okay.
It's easier than it looks.
The goats are loading.
Oh, wow, that's
So
a
it's loading the
challenging
goats.
game.
So there we have.
a
I've
challenge.
loaded my goats onto the
Well, then he
truck.
has to back up now.
So, whoops, you see,
Nope.
I didn't change gear. I didn't go into reverse, and I've
Didn't.
crashed into the farm.
Kill a goat.
So let's switch into reverse out of the farm without hitting any more goats. And
He's
to
like turning the wheel.
turning the wheel. It's just like driving a real truck.
Yes.
100% realism. Apart from you can't flip the truck. I have tried multiple times in different situations. Let's take a run at the hill at the bottom of this windy mountain
No,
road.
don't hurt the goats. No, the
And
goats.
you'll see the physics are, let's put it this way, very friendly.
You know what? This is why
Nothing
it's
bad
rated E for
happens.
everyone.
These are obviously very interesting physics conditions.
I don't think that it's interesting physics. I think they've just finally figured out how to keep a truck from crashing.
Yes.
There's a lot of counterbalance work going on inside this truck.
So the counterbalance is obviously goats. Every lorry or truck
goats
should
are-
They
have
don't.
goats on it.
They just stay inside, no problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're pretty happy. The 8-bit music is still going on in the background.
Definitely not getting annoying at this point. No.
So the idea is you drive from A to B with your goats and unload them at the following farm. What they do with them at the other
I was
farm,
going to
I don't
ask
know.
you
Did
what
you-
they're
did-
doing at the other farm.
Did you make this game, Matteo?
No, but I am running out of goat apps in the app arena. So this is starting to be the end of that.
Starting to be?
I will need to make a goat app at some point or hire someone to make me a goat app. Unless Coffee Stain Studios decide on another variant of Goat Simulator.
Of course. Yeah, that's your shoe. That's your...
Hey, this is pretty good graphics. I'm just
Yeah,
going
the
to say.
graphics are pretty good.
Oh,
Whoa.
they're spectacular.
Oh,
So I'm going to have to reverse here. Bit of Italian parking
I
going
could
on.
see a kid liking this game though because
It is very
like,
challenging.
Kids who can't drive though, like the idea of virtual driving, is fun.
With goats.
And there we are. I've
Hey.
completed the
Adventure.
level. And there's
You're
an,
rewarded with an ad.
still more appropriate than Jason's ads. Adventure Communist.
totally. Well, you know, yours is for everyone, and mine was for 10 and up. So
Yep, I'm from Europe. I'll need
Apparently.
to bring this app to the next time I'm in the arena. So there you are. I've completed the level, and then as you go on, you select more challenging lorries, number of goats you transfer, more challenging routes to get the goats from A to B, and it's still a mystery of what happens to the goats at the end. It's a bit like transferring Pokemon to the professor in Pokemon Go.
it's just get from point A to point B and then watch this ad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's Goat Transport Simulator, which is free in the App Store.
Beautiful.
And as usual, this is a vote for Team GG and
Did
G.
you guys see that transition though?
Yes, that was a really impressive
Okay,
one.
I just want to give Victor his props.
Victor
He's
has
really
been-
showing up today.
He's been on point today.
Do that again? Oh, my goodness.
That's
Come on,
How on earth did you make that happen?
With a
Victor, that was amazing.
sweat.
That's probably part of the TriCaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get to search around the TriCaster while you guys are talking.
You found a goat transition in the TriCaster? I don't even.
It's probably been there from before Victor's time.
See, I always feel welcome at the Twit studio.
Yeah, see, it's like we know you.
This is why he stops here.
What I want to know is GOAT Android Twitter or GOAT Android universe aware of Matteo and the GOAT thing in this show? Like, is there an underground GOAT subculture that like is like waiting for Matteo to come back on all of that Android for all the GOAT jokes?
I kind of don't want to know the answer of that.
We don't talk about the Gotimati.
The Gotimati.
Oh my goodness.
It's a secret society.
Yes.
You have
very
to know
secret.
about
It should stay secret. Let's be honest.
Great.
All right. GOAT Transport Simulator is free with ads.
Still more appropriate than your ads.
Still more appropriate than the ads on Crush the Castle.
We're going to remember that one for a while.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, Flo, what you got?
I feel left out not bringing a game today. Folks, I have upped my Instagram game, I think. And my Instagram is now a blog of my life. And so for it to become a blog of my life, I need to have formatting and abilities that other influencers and social media go-getters have set forth. So anyway, I found this toolbox. It's called Gbox, and it is a toolbox for Instagram. And it's your run-of-the-mill toolkit. You know, it does what you need it to do. I'm gonna turn up the brightness on this just a tiny bit. Oop.
Better.
Much better. Let me move my mic. Okay, now you can hear me. So this is Gbox. It's asking me what I will create today. You know, I'm not a Vasco girl, so I'm not really on Instagram to sell product. I'm just there to like document my life. But I really just trying to make up time now. But I really do like the utility of this app. So the reason I like it, first of all, the thing that mostly brought me to it. So Instagram, for some reason, doesn't let you add spaces natively because what is formatting, I suppose. So the nice thing about this is it gives you a space adder. And the space adder, you can either type in what your caption is going to say or you can paste it in. What I usually do is I pre-write it in Google Keep. Then I put it through Grammarly to make sure that my grammar, sponsor of the Twit Network, make sure that the grammar sounds good. And then I pop it in here and I add some paragraphs and I add some formatting and I make things look professional because I am a professional. Or at least I try to fake it.
Professional grammar.
Sure.
You're an influencer.
I'm not. I make zero money off of any of that stuff. But you know,
maybe you should try harder.
There's a whole ethical contingent there. Anyway, so another couple of great things on this. There is if you go to the glitch effect, you know, you're like, oh, who cares about glitches, Flo? Well, it's fine. So here's a picture I just took earlier of me holding one of the phones that Matteo brought in.
Love it.
And nice thing is down here, it has like a bunch of it just has a bunch of filters that you can apply as you want. But what I like to use on this is like if you take a picture of maybe a car with a license plate and you want to be a good citizen of the world and not put the license plate for everybody to see, you can get a little censored button and use the two fingers and move it around and make sure that whatever you're posting to the internet is not showing off somebody's license plate number. Or maybe you want to, you know, X out some faces or something. Or maybe there is a picture of a naked person and you would like to keep those 10-year-olds from seeing things. They're maybe not.
Are you getting Jason's ads?
No, I'm not, thankfully. So that's another one. This also has a repost functionality, which I'm really engaged with I have a very a personal network on Instagram. So a lot of like people I know in IRL in real life. And so sometimes, you know, you want to repost things that you normally can't. This also has a keyboard that you can pop in if you really want to do your Instagramming on the go. You know, tell me if you want to use it. There's also a color picker, hashtags if that's your thing, if you really are going for those influencer dollars. There's also the swipe photo ability, so you can like cut up a photo and then have it pan out, which is nice. I haven't used that in a really long time because I just don't use an SLR anymore. But, you know, there's a video splitter, which I found to be very helpful when I'm not, it's a lot of videos of, when I'm not using InShot. There's a 9 grid if you want to do that. So basically, this is just a good toolbox for anybody who is like really into Instagram and wants to make it look nice and professional. And it's free. And it has some really helpful tools.
How does best hashtags work?
Boop. So you upload your image. Ooh, let's do this in real time. All right, here's a picture of the phone and my nails.
Oh, yeah. And a watch strap.
Generating awesome hashtags.
Okay, so it's analyzing,
Yes.
I imagine. It's using the power of artificial intelligence to dynamically analyze the photograph and pull out interesting key points that can be descriptive.
Well,
of
now
the
I'm really
contents
curious. Why is it taking a while?
Generating awesome hashtags.
or generating awesome hashtags. Yeah.
Machine learning.
Hashtags generated?
Oh.
Okay, hashtags. I don't use all of these. Woman, technology, touch, telephone, electronics, girl, wireless computer, luxury, no person, business, fashion, hand, connection, machinery, internet, indoors, daughter, girlfriend, online, child, radio, phone, lux, way, and engineering.
Okay.
I wonder what the Instagram ads for posting that will be like.
So
Anyway.
is the idea here that you would then copy that entire block of text
I
and
have
put it in there?
used
'Cause
I have
seen-
used this because I don't know, like if I want, sometimes once in a while I'll post something like Android-y, and if I do want it to get a little bit of traction, then I'll put it through this thing and just have it give me hashtags because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
What is Instagram?
What is traction?
You should use this. You just got onto Instagram.
I need to start filling all my posts with like 30 hashtags.
I love, but Jason, I would love it if you did that, by the way. Like, if there's just a block of hashtags. Oh, that'd be amazing.
I'll get this app, and then I'll do that. That'll be all that I do is blocks of hashtags.
I want Jason to become like a mega Instagram influencer. That'd be amazing.
Never gonna happen.
Hey, never say never, man. Dare to dream.
True. That's true. Oh, I will keep that firmly in the dream category. G-Box for Android, and that is free. Nice.
Wait, I think it's free. Somebody asked me about it. I don't remember what's free or not because I pay for everything.
Offers in-app purchases.
Oh, I probably have paid for that because
yeah, it's possible. All right, so twit.to/AAA poll 439 to place your vote for your favorite app this week. Is it Limbo, Crush the Castle, Goat Transport Simulator, or G-Box? That's where you go. Twit.to/AAA poll 439. Refresh that page. Refresh it because you aren't getting all four. There we go.
Yeah, you got to include me in there.
There we go. And Victor is swirling. He's circling. He's limboing. Oh, yeah.
Right,
you can't see the results.
He's trying to play both sides from all the sides from the middle. That's what Victor's doing.
Making everyone just a little happy.
He doesn't want to overly favor Matteo this week because he knows he's on thin ice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Victor. Your support is always welcome.
No problem.
Hey, he made you. I don't even have my own transitions,
Yeah, that's true.
and I've been here for 4 years.
Yeah, we need to get a flow transition.
Is it
I don't know what that would look like, but
I would love lots of sparkles. That
There we
would
go.
be really nice.
Your phone cases are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I say that as a Mockadial expert.
Thank you. You know, I've kept
Mateo
every
knows a thing or two about
every
cases.
Mockadial case you ever gave me, even though I don't think I have some of the phones anymore for the Mockadial.
But you keep the cases,
yes.
and then what do you do with them? They put them on the wall.
I have a lot of keepsake boxes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a sentimental person.
Okay, good to know.
Make a blanket out of them.
Someday.
Yeah.
I might need to with the apocalypse
a
coming.
Mockadial blanket for the winter months. Matteo, thank you so much for hopping in today on your way to Hawaii. I hope you have a fantastic time. You
And
Candace.
please wear sunscreen. Sorry, I just.
We definitely will.
have to.
We're very white coming from
Oh
Scotland.
yay! Candace is gonna use it.
She's going to make
It's
me
a
use
good
it.
app. It's. I mostly got it for the spacing.
But it offers so much more. TechTravelGeeks.com.
Yes.
Anything else you want to point people to?
Yes, the Tech Travel Geeks YouTube channel. That's where you'll see our amazingly well-edited videos by our Chief Aperture Officer, Lukash. Videos such as the ones we used earlier in this episode of All About Android. And the slightly less professional, more to-the-point, quick hands-on or unboxings of products where you can see, for example, my hands-on with the Huawei Mate 30 Pro and the unboxing of the Huawei Watch GT 2, as well as some travel vlogs and some interesting travel accessories from companies like Xiaomi, which are completely Android unrelated. Recently, for example, I got a USB Type-C power bank Razer, which works great.
Okay.
So it's a Razer with a power bank that charges via USB Type-C. Great for travel.
Not a Motorola Razer.
No.
Yeah, different type of Razer.
Yes.
Okay.
It shaves you.
Yeah.
If you don't already, just as you subscribe to All About Android on YouTube and through other channels, do subscribe to the Tech Travel Geeks on YouTube.
Fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, and we will have you back soon, or we might not, depending on how the talk with Ron goes after the show. We'll see.
It's a concern. It's a real concern. Listen, I'll allow the goat nonsense. It was really the Chinese thing that got me this week.
The shiny thing. The shiny phones, and yes.
Yeah.
All right, well,
the
keep that in
phones.
mind for next time.
Okay, then. Please let me know of the outcome of this appraisal.
Ron, I'll leave that in your court. Ron, what do you want to leave us with?
Don't call us. We'll call you, Matteo. That's what
Oh my gosh.
All right. I'm not going to give my outro until all this nonsense is off the screen. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we'll circle back to you. Flo, what about you?
I actually have quite a bit going on right now. I'm working on an article for a former Twit host. You may know her. She's one of your former co-hosts.
And All About Android, or
The fruity one.
I know.
The fruity
Her
one.
name was Megan Maroney.
Yes,
her name
Megan
still
Maroney.
is Megan Maroney.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm working on a lot of
Thankfully.
stuff. This weekend, I'm working on a podcast pilot. So tune in soon, because somehow I'm gonna figure out how to edit it on my own.
You can do this.
Editing
You
is
can
not
do it.
hard, Flo.
Yeah,
Call
you
me if
say
need any
that.
help.
You say that.
It is.
But
Trust me, it is not hard. It is not hard.
And on top of that, let's see. Oh, I'm going to the Google event next month. I'm going to be there.
Very nice.
That's going to be good. I have a website, which I need to update, florenceion.com. And follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and Snapchat at OhThatFlow without the W. Don't you dare put a W in my name.
Yeah, don't do that.
Especially you, Starbucks barista.
Oh,
Stop it.
man. Maybe spell it
Ayo.
out for them next time.
No, why? It's Flo. F-L-O.
I'm just saying. Like, so I can understand.
It's not Flo.
I know.
Or how about with an E at the end of it?
It could.
It's
it
not
could go-
flowy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, was this?
What about you, Ron?
I don't know. What about me, Victor?
You're
There
good.
we go.
You're
Much
good. You're
better. Thank you. Go to Twitter and follow me at RonXO and on Instagram at RonXO. And as you can tell by my lack of shaven face, if you're watching the video, I'm in a very busy period, which will go right up until October. So yeah, I'm just busy guy. That's all I got.
You busy guy.
Hey, it's good to be busy.
Lot going on behind the scenes. Lot going on.
I hear you. You can find me here doing shows on the Twit Network. I do another show, actually. It's called Tech News Weekly. Formerly, Megan Maroney, who you were writing an article for, was the host, but now Micah Sargent is hosting that with me. And you should really check it out if you
You guys
haven't.
are kicking butt, by the way.
Have fun. It's fun.
You guys are doing a really good job.
Yeah, I'm enjoying doing the show with Micah. Micah, I mean, he's an awesome, funny guy. So,
I don't know, but I want to give you your props
Thank you.
because
Yeah, I appreciate that. Twit.tv/TNW if you want to check out that. Thanks to Burke. Thanks to Jeff. Thanks to you, Victor, of course, for most of today's show. Some things Ron might not thank you for, but I'll thank you.
Not funny.
Appreciate all your work. Also, thanks to Ant and Candace for sitting through the entire
yes,
episode.
thank
Ant,
you for
were
sitting
snapping
through the
pictures,
entire
and that was
episode,
awesome.
the both of you.
That's it for this week. This podcast publishes every Tuesday evening. So we recorded on Tuesday, publishes a few hours later every Tuesday evening. You can subscribe by going to twit.tv/AAA. There you're going to find everything you need to know, all the podcast links, audio, video. There's an embedded player if you want to watch it there. There's links out to YouTube. Whatever your jam is, you can find it there. Also, if you want to leave us a voicemail, 347-SHOW-AAA. Send us emails at AAA@twit.tv. And finally, you should follow Twit on social media. Take your pick. On Twitter, it's @Twit. On Instagram, it's twit.tv. And you're going to find a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff. We're doing a lot more of that these days, and it's just a lot of fun. So if you think you've seen it all, go there and you'll see a little bit more. But that is it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android. Bye, everybody.